going on, motivators? So 2 week hiatus and we're back, and I'm really not sure what the hell I was thinking, but I've got a group of folks tonight. It's like you're going to get to sit in on a Zoom call, and Heather is here. So say hi, sweetheart.
Hello.
And we're going to talk. So I was on a ship, an amazing ship. My very first ship was the USS Ticonderoga, CG-47. It was the first of its class. And it's an Aegis cruiser. I was an Aegis FC, and inside of CF division, which is all the Aegis FCs on a ship, was CFO2, little CFO2. And I am still as close to those guys today as I was 25 years ago. And you're going to get to sit in, and this is extremely scary because there's a couple characters in this group that you're going to get to sit in on a conversation with a group of guys that still love each other after 25 years, after serving together for 4 or 5 years, depending on the individual and when they left the ship. And you're going to get to kind of see how we interact. And the reason I'm doing this is because, you know, we all serve our country, right? We go off and in the military, we go off and we dedicate these first formative years of our lives to kind of just growing up and learning and getting to know each other. And those people that you spend that time with become your brothers, your sisters. And you really, at least in my case, we never lost touch. We stayed in touch. I'm in touch with the entire division, and I didn't know how to fit. I'm in touch with, it seems like, the whole doggone ship. I mean, we celebrate together. We stay in touch. We know each other. And we also mourn with each other. For example, we've lost several folks since then. Andrew Triplett was one of them. I know October 12th just passed in the USS Cole attack. It was the anniversary. This was the 20th anniversary of the USS Cole attack. Andrew Triplett, for most of us that you're going to see tonight, taught us the steam cycle. And the reason we had our surface warfare pins was because of Andrew Triplett. And we lost another great guy, Bulldog Birch, who was a CWIS tech, but he was part of CF Division. Jeremy Nubbs Crow, who wasn't part of CF Division, who was one of my very, very closest friends. We lost him about 10 years ago. And Christopher Paul Jones, CPJ, we lost him as well, actually while we were still on board the ship, which, again, tragedy brings you pretty close together. So, you know, I'm gonna bring these guys on real quick. Let me show you that amazing ship. And ironically, there are the Twin Towers behind the ship in that photo. And I know Mark has a really cool photo of himself, and Mark's going to be on here in a second. Really cool photo of himself on top of one of those towers at the observation deck when we were there for Fleet Week. So that was our home for 5 years. This is what we did. We fixed those radar dishes there on top, and we shot missiles off that missile launcher, and you know, and we lived together, and we loved one another, at least for the most part. While he's smiling, I can see him right now, but he's not on camera because there are jokes coming, and I am so scared. But anyway, buckle up, folks, and I recommend you stick around. This is going to be a relatively long one. We're going to have fun. And it's going to be like sitting in on a Zoom call with a bunch of crazy old farts. But, you know, really, I want you to see what it's like to be part of a family when you serve together, when you get underway together, where, you know, I mean, honestly, you go to war together, and how tight you become, and what happens afterwards. You know, some of us get old and fat and grow beards. Some of us just get old and fat, and others of us, you know, buy a bunch of cars to make up for things. But anyway, here's the team. Sweetheart, if you could add them back on. There we go. Big thanks, brother. You know I was talking about you, man. So let me go around the horn here. So Big Al is he's a retired Master Chief. He ended up being a CSMM. What ship did you retire off of, Al?
USS McFall, DDG 74.
All right. So Al stayed in and made Master Chief and retired. How long ago? How long is that? How old is that beard?
Beard's only 3 years old.
3-year-old beard. Nice. And then Wally, Johnny Love, Johnny Walleritz, got out of the Navy off the Tycho. And
Hi, Mom.
Wally. So Wally's the one that we were all amazed never went to mast. So just buckle up, folks. If there's any craziness or anybody that needs to be muted, it's gonna be Wally.
If you guys mute me, I'll kick your fucking ass.
Yeah. Oh, so there. Thank you, Wally. I appreciate you reminding me. The disclaimer today is there's gonna be bad language. If you're offended by bad language or some snide jokes or whatever, I've already warned Wally to keep it clean.
Or full frontal.
No, right. None of that. So, Mom, I know you're watching right now. I apologize for Wally in advance. And then Mark also left the Navy off the Tycho and currently works down in Pigula and is doing great stuff for the United States Navy. Yeah, I know. I saw. And sorry, technical difficulties. We lost Hitch. So Heather's like, hey, we lost Hitch. We're trying to get Hitch back. Mark, what year did you get out?
I got out in '98. We were on deployment. You guys pink bellied me twice in Aruba.
What was that?
You guys pink bellied me twice. We were supposed to pull in on one day, and I was supposed to fly out from Aruba. And Chief left, and the division officer went with him. And you guys grabbed me in radar 1, threw me on the floor there, and pink bellied me. Well, something happened. We got delayed. We didn't pull into the next day. So Chief and Divo left quarters in radar 1, and you guys grabbed me and pink bellied me again.
All right. So another thing I'm going to share throughout this are some photos. And so there was a bit of a tradition that we had in one of the traditions was every time we pulled in, we played volleyball. That was one. But the other was anytime someone left. Now, remember, this was 25 years ago in the Navy when some of the rules were a little bit different and things went a little differently. You know, one of the stories I always share is that Admiral Borda, a rumor I heard about Admiral Borda was that he went UA for 30 days when he was a seaman. And then he ended up becoming the CNO because somebody squared him away and straightened him out, right? That was 40 years ago. The stuff that Seaman Isbell did, Admiral Borda, he couldn't have done what Admiral Borda did and become Command Master Chief Isbell, right?
Speaking of seaman.
So I'm going to ignore that one and move on. Wally, not appropriate. Not appropriate. You're going to get muted and just sit there and be beautiful for the rest of the thing if you keep it up.
You were warned.
But so the pink belly thing was was a bit of a tradition. And I'm sorry, I'm sidetracked because I was talking about volleyball. And there's Heather's going to put me on solo. There's Al serving the ball on the beach.
Nice.
Yeah, that's me in the
No
background.
comment.
Yep. And then there's some more
That was
volleyball.
Curacao, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah.
And then oh yeah, so I don't know why that one showed up in my that's me.
Yeah, that's Curacao.
This one's Ecuador.
Oh yeah.
That one's definitely Ecuador. I got another Ecuador one with Gump in it.
Cindy Patterson said no muting.
No muting. Cindy Patterson's a retired Command Master Chief. She'll be excited about it. So here's Brock getting his goodbyes. And then this is post me getting my goodbyes. I had a great one that actually had my son, who is now a second-class petty officer in the Navy, sitting in a chair laughing. There's another Brock getting his goodbyes. Oh, there's the one with Gump in Ecuador. That's me in the air.
Don't ever ask Gump about the story about me in Ecuador.
Promise. Anyway, so take me back to the group, babe. So yeah, man, there's another pink. There's another one. Somebody getting beat up. So you left Ecuador. Well, we got you twice in Ecuador, but you didn't. Did you left in Ecuador?
No, Aruba.
Aruba.
Sorry. All the port visits in the Gulf Coast. All right, Mike. So Mike, you left. This is Mike. Once upon a time.
Day or two ago.
Yeah, and there's me and Mike in Rome. That's in the Colosseum.
Yep.
Man.
Good times.
Yeah, man. So when did you leave, man?
I left Tycho in 96 and went to 98. I left in 98 and went to Dahlgren. And then I got out in Dahlgren in 2000. Yeah, 96. 96. I did 4 years in Dahlgren.
And then when you got out, you stayed in Dahlgren as a civilian and worked there, right?
I did. Still do. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
That's my powder photo.
On show.
I have that one here. I just saw it. I wasn't going to show it because, well, you know.
Well, you were half naked. I had to.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I figured that was coming. So I'm gonna start off with the first sea story in the group, and it's very tame. So Wally, settle down. You weren't even on board yet. You came on board like 2 months after I did on the med cruise. I think you came on board in.
Yeah, his first port visit was Barcelona.
Yeah, that went well.
Oh,
Yeah.
come on, guys. I knew I was screwed. So I came on board in Villafrance, and Hitch and I came on board together, and we lost Hitch. I'm hoping we can get him back on board or back on online here soon. But here's what I remember. And Jim Thomas is in a couple of these photos. And Jim and I went. He was a display tech on the ship, and he and I went through A school together and went through C school at the same time. And I climbed up the ladder because we were anchored out in Villafrance, and I climbed up the ladder, and Jim Thomas was already on board Tycho. He was standing there waiting for me. Like it was like I was already home because Jim was there waiting. He was a guy I knew, and you know, and you're scared, right? Because you really, I hadn't left Cleveland until I flew to, I mean, except for to go to like Canada fishing with Dad or something like that. I'd never really left home, not like that. And so I went to A school, C school, got married, you know, had a couple of kids through A school and C school, and off I go flying across the country, across the world, playing spades with Hitch on the plane, because Hitch and I went through A school and C school together, and I'm hoping we can get him back on here. But the whole story is that first day, and you know, we talk about the first 72 hours now in the Navy and how important they are for junior sailors. But my first day at my first command, Jim Thomas is waiting for me. I get checked in, and you guys are running aloft chits, and we go aloft and we wash the illuminators. And I mean, we're sitting up on, you know, the top of the ship aloft, spraying each other with water and having a good time. Relax, Wally. I know you weren't there, but we all had our clothes on. And it was a cool experience. And Mike, you were the senior guy, man. At the time, you were the senior guy. And honestly, immediately for me, you know, and I know you and I chat a little bit just recently, actually, and you know, we talk a lot. I look to you like, hey, man, this is the guy I want to be. You were fun. We were having a good time. We were screwing around. I mean, we were working. We were getting shit done, putting the peanut butter on the freaking stops and doing all that stuff. But you know, the way that I was treated when I came on board the Tycho, that first like 12 hours, it wasn't even 72 hours. I knew that I was home. Like the minute I walked on board Tycho. So I thank you for that. I don't know if we've ever had that conversation, but I thank you for that, man. I really do.
You're welcome. I mean, we had a great time. That was definitely pretty memorable. Villafrance was a beautiful port. And for me, like, you know, I don't know how many times I'd done radar maintenance. So for me, it wasn't about putting the peanut butter on so much as the view of just the city there, you know, while we were while we were anchored. It was gorgeous. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was good times.
Yeah. So we got Hitch back. Thanks for showing up, Mr. Technical Difficulties.
Yeah,
Been your day,
I've
man.
had a Monday for certain. As a leader, I have done a poor job today with managing my day, to
Yeah.
say the least.
Yeah. So Dave and I went on a classic car ride today. He's got a couple of them. Today it was his 65 Corvette. It's a Chevy, so it broke down.
Twice.
Twice.
I've been on the rollback today more than I've been on a rollback in 20 years with that car.
Yeah. So real quick about Dave, because I haven't introduced Hitch. I haven't introduced him yet.
Nope.
Snoop Doggy
Yeah.
Dog. We were mentioning Hitchens traps earlier. We can get to that in a little while. All the mirrors.
Hey, look, there's a window that acts as a mirror, so I mean that works.
So Hitch and I went through boot camp at the same time. He was a couple divisions ahead of me. We went through A school together. I think you said that you dropped back into my class, which is kind of funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then we went through C school together, and then we ended up on the Tyco together. And I was telling everybody, excuse me, I'm drinking a lot because Wally's on board with us today. So I'm drinking on during the show. And
You better hurry up and mute me because I'm ready to speak.
And we all know we don't know what.
If I see that microphone with the X, you guys are getting nudity.
So
Yeah.
I was telling him how you and I flew over to the Tyco together in Villafrance, and
Yeah.
we were playing spades together on the plane, and I didn't mention that we stopped in SIG. In fact, I was in SIG this year.
Isn't that where you both joined the Mile High Club together?
Yeah, something like that, Wally. We appreciate that.
It wasn't Wednesday.
Oh, Gump's Wednesday joke.
Crazy.
All right.
For y'all that don't know, my wife's name is Stacy, and Johnny has a thing for Stacy.
Well, I met her when she was 12.
That's when they got married, Wally.
All
right.
I'm done.
So yeah, no, you know what was funny is you bring that up, and you know it was really interesting. We spent 2 years in the Navy before we even saw a ship, and
Yeah.
you know we weren't really in the Navy. It didn't seem like up until that point, until we got to Villafrance, and we get on the ship, and Mike and Crawford and a couple of other guys that were senior second classes really like helped us understand what we needed to do. And it was just, you know, it was nice to have somebody that was there and had been there and gone through what we had been through to help us when we got on board the ship. You know, it was really nice. You know,
Light beer,
and I
Snoop.
think
Light
another-
beer.
Well, yeah. I'm squirreling away nuts for the winter. You know, it's getting cold out, so my
Well, at
cheeks
least
are
they're not
all.
on your chin this time.
You know what was also interesting, at least as an FC, is that yeah, this went downhill real quick. I'm glad I'm not at home, so Stacy's not being subjected to all this.
Where
My
do you
guess
think
is
I'm
she's
at?
watching right now.
Yeah, she could
You
be
know what I
watching.
remember
Her
about
Mike
you
could
guys
be
coming on
watching.
board? In
What's that,
Villafrance,
Mark?
I remember Snoop coming on board because he was seasick. We were
Oh, yeah, I
anchored
got
out.
puked over the side.
Nobody
We're
watched
anchored.
out. And he's puking over
I
the
don't
side as soon
remember
as he
that.
steps aboard.
Oh yeah, we were at sea and anchor and getting underway, and I got sick, and we hadn't even pulled up the dang anchor.
I do not remember that. Holy
I didn't
Oh, I
remember
shit.
puked all over the backside, all over the fantail, all over. It was everywhere.
Nice.
It was good times.
Wow. All right, so let's go around the horn. We'll start with Big Al. And and
What's the G stand for?
grandpa.
Oh.
And so
No.
he's going to be a grandpa in 3 months. Aren't
He's a
you? Al?
bushwhacker.
More like
2 months.
December 13th.
Congratulations, brother. We're
I
excited
was
for you.
nowhere near your daughter.
Oh,
It would be money if she was watching this right now.
Hi,
so,
sweetie.
so and that's the crazy part for both Mark and Al. You had kids during that deployment, right? If I remember correctly, both your daughters were either born during the deployment or during and underway while we were on Tycho.
Courtney was born
It was
2 weeks
close.
before we got home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And mine was 3 months after we got home. I found out actually in our first port visit in Rhoda that Jamie was pregnant with my
Okay.
first kid. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember being in the same room with Al when he found out when Courtney was born, and I've watched Courtney grow up, and I mean, Courtney was at my daughter's wedding just a couple months, just over a year ago, and Al was there, and Amy and Taz. I'm sorry, I still think of her as Taz, but if she's watching, I apologize, but.
Remember when we watched her cat?
Yeah, Snatch Biscuit. I remember Snatch Biscuit, Wally.
Remember that?
We're not going to talk about that story, Wally.
I can't be trusted.
No, you can't.
We know that, Wally.
Yeah.
The only person we trust less is Bustamante.
Oh. Busta can't fill the 400 hertz converters on Friday.
No, no.
It's a long weekend.
It would end up a long Friday at a minimum because they would break. So let's go around the horn, and tell me, give me one of your more memorable moments. I know I'm really, because Wally's next, and
Gosh.
yeah. So let's just warm it up with Big Al, and then move on to Wally, and tell me one of your more memorable Tycho moments, if you will.
I think overall you hit on it in your little advertisement yesterday, and it's amazing that at that point in your life the bonds that you can form so quickly. I felt the same way with you. Me and Mark went through A school together, C school together. Mike was in C school with us, so for lack of a better term, Mike was our sea daddy coming to our first ship. So when we all three got to the same ship, that made it easy. I wasn't really scared that first day because I knew Mike was there. So other than the normal razzing, we were going to be taken care of. But yeah, it's family. I mean, I remember that day vividly, September 1st, 1999, when I left. And although I wanted off that ship, there was a part of me that it was hard to walk away that last time. Kind of the same thing you feel like that day when the family drops you off on the pier and you're getting ready to leave for deployment. Taking that first step away is a challenge. And that's my whole memory of the crew of us from the first ship. I mean, I had great ships after that, but I don't think it ever amounted to the real sense of family that we have, especially within our work center from that first ship.
Yeah, I totally agree. The funny thing is like I still feel that way when I see you guys. Mark came to the house when we were living in Florida, and we didn't skip a beat. Same thing with Mike. We were talking earlier about how Mike got me drunk when I was on R&R from Afghanistan. He brought some dragon's milk over, and I was sick for like my entire time I was home on R&R, thanks to the dragon's milk. I love you, Mike. And
Here for you.
Wally, Hitch and I spent today together, and we saw each other last weekend. We had dinner together, and and then there's Wally, who when my ship, when I was on the USS New York, we pulled into Fort Lauderdale. He was living down there. And Heather came down, and he and his girlfriend took us out, and we had a really good time. And then he came up to visit us in Jacksonville. So, all of us have stayed in touch throughout all these years. I mean, we're here today doing this goofy show on Facebook Live and YouTube, so that we can kind of show what it's like to grow this family pretty quick. And you're right, it was instant. I mean, who couldn't love a guy like this?
Johnny Love.
Or a guy
Ladies,
like
I'm
this?
available.
Jeez.
I mean, who couldn't love this dude? You know what I mean?
That was
I'm
at your
easy, but I
friend's
ain't
house
cheap.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where you had
So-
that big Great Dane, right?
Yeah. So Johnny, tell us what your most memorable Tycho, and try to be serious. I'm not talking about your mom tattoo.
Thank you, Mark.
Or
I'm here for you,
Barcelona.
man. Always.
Put it so
We don't need to hear about Barcelona.
I think it'd be probably meeting Stacy. No, along the same lines. I'll be serious for a second. Same lines Al said. I mean, you work together. It's like family. You bitch at each other. You argue. When that freaking clock rings and Liberty call, it's over. You're friends. You go out. You have drinks. You have dinner. You laugh. And 25 years later, you're doing the exact same thing.
Very
It's
true.
like you never skipped a beat.
Yeah. You bring him down, babe. Yeah. Thanks, Johnny. We love
You're
you,
welcome.
man. Thank you.
I love you,
You can
man.
be decent every once in a while. You
Yeah,
have it
don't
in you,
worry.
bro.
I still get the final words right tonight.
Fuck no.
No, that'd be a bad idea, Sean.
So Hitch, man, we've spent a lot of time together, at least in the last two days. You were at my wedding. Wally, was he at the wedding, honey?
Fuck
Wally
yeah, I was there.
Yeah, Wally was there.
Who was
I had
there? Who was at the
beaten off
wedding?
Stacy.
Mike, were you at the wedding?
No, I wasn't there. Oh yeah. I remember your shoes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the best part of that wedding, man. Well, no
Yeah.
offense. I'm happy for both of you, but the shoes, dude, that was
For the people following along, my shoes when I kneeled down for communion said "lucky guy" at the bottom of my
on the
shoe.
bottom.
Yeah. So and Al, you were out of town and Mark's out of town, so that's why I was like, wait a minute, hold on a minute. I wanted to make sure. So that's my point.
I got
is
a
that
good picture of me and Stacy from your wedding later at the house.
Wally yelled Stacy 4,000 times at the top of his lungs during the wedding. I remember that now. How did I forget? So Hitch,
Snoop, you got a picture of Stacy? All mine have,
stop.
don't have clothes
there.
on. So.
Stop right there. Stop right there.
I might have to make as frustrated as I am today, you might get a special visit from me because I know where you live in New York. So,
So Dave, talk about your special moment on Tycho, brother.
That's a loaded question, man. Especially the way you present it. But I'll try to say it. For me, it was the fact that we were held accountable, but we were allowed to do things that were not always within the regs. But it was simple things. We were expected to have our uniforms a certain way, our shoes shined, to present a certain way. One of my favorite things that I still say to this day is if you're on time, you're late. And of course I was late. I've had a real challenge today. Like I said, been on a record 2 times today. I'm not at my house. I'm at my folks' house tonight because of that. But really that's something. If I was a young sailor and I had anything to give them, it would be if you're on time, you're late. It applies to a lot of different things in your life as it relates to how you're perceived by others around you and then how you lead. So that would be the biggest, probably one of the biggest things that I'll take away. I'll never forget. We were up at morning muster. We're on the 04 level there, and I showed up, and it was like a minute or two to 8. And I think it was Heitmeyer, one of the chiefs at the time, said, "Payoff switching, you're late." I said, "Chief, it's 2 to 8. I'm good." And he goes, "If you're on time, you're late." And that's one thing that's really stuck with me through the years. And it's just attention to detail, and that's part of it. And I mean, that's, if I had to say something beyond what you guys have already talked about, that would probably be something that I would say was my biggest takeaway from being on the Tyco and being in a.
Yeah, that's nice, man. So I have a story from Afghanistan. It's very similar to that, man. I walked into a meeting like 5-6 minutes early, and the general's standing there, and he says, "Hey, Master Chief, you're late." I looked at the clock on the wall. I looked at my watch. He goes, "I'm already here." And I looked at my watch and I looked at the wall and I went, "You're right, sir. I'm late. I apologize."
Yep.
He was just screwing with me, right? But it's
Right.
that
But
same
was he?
lesson. It's the same lesson. Hey, you got to beat the boss there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
you
a
gotta beat the
general?
boss. Huh?
You don't want to be
What's
the
a
last man
general?
to enter the meeting.
It's just the guy who tells people what to do, Wally. Don't worry about it.
That's a guy who sells insurance, right?
Yes. Yes. Thank you, General. Yes. All right, Mark, your turn, brother. Talk to me about a memory, man.
Well, Al brought up a good point. I was going to tell the story originally how Dave almost killed he and I working on 400 hertz.
That
I
was
actually told the
Johnny's
story
fault.
the other day.
That was Johnny's
couple
fault.
sailors,
Johnny wasn't there.
but Al brought up a good point, and it's something that makes a lot of sense now that I didn't understand at the time. I was one of the first guys to get out after Simpson left. Just the sense of loss afterwards was very profound. I mean, I had my wife and my kids there with me, and I've read a lot of books on military getting out. You lose the family, the feeling that you've lived with these people for months at a time, 24/7, and then suddenly you're not a member of the family anymore. And it took a lot of getting used to. It was just really hard not seeing you guys every day.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I think that's one of the reasons we are so close now is we were so close then. The friends that we make last forever. I think it's St. Crispin's Day quote from Henry VIII. He who sheds his blood with me today will forevermore be my brother. And that's the way it is. You guys are my brothers for now and forevermore.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Well, shit, you've always been the smarter of all of us, so I appreciate you quoting Henry the whatever. 15.
Yeah. Mark was
always-
definitely the
You
brain.
really have been the smartest dude in the room ever
Right.
since.
Hard
I
to
met
believe I'm
you.
from West Virginia, huh?
Right. It is hard to
No.
believe that your parents are related. It is very, very difficult.
And then now.
That wasn't nice. I apologize. Everybody watching from West Virginia, I'm sorry. I was just kidding.
So we
No, you are
we
one
look
of
like a
smart-
pig.
Can you play the banjo, Wally?
We'll get me an animal. He'll play the violin.
All right, Mike. Over to you, brother.
Man, what to say? So, first off, I guess the whole 400 hertz story was a pretty good lead in from Mark because that was my last day on the ship. That was pretty exciting. But I'm not going to go with that story. So for me, this was my third ship, Tycho was, and by that time, I joined the Navy and I'm just going to do one ship and I'm out. And I realized that I kind of enjoyed it. So anyway, I wound up on Tycho, and at that point, I was an E5 trying to score E6. And for me, as Mallory said, as Alan said, we were in class together, and I got to try and pick who I wanted to go to a ship with. We had 20 people in our C school class, which is, they've only done that once at ATRC, and that was a lesson learned for them. But we went there, and I managed to get Al and Mark to go to Tycho with me. and then of course we picked up the rest of you, Izzy and Hitch, there on our cruise, and then Wally. I think that was the next port. But we had a good crew, and that's something that I think Al alluded to as well. Like those other two ships, I made friends there, and I still know some of them, but I'm not as close to them as I am with this ship and this crew. So there's just something there that got all of us to click as we came together, and we drew closer. And Mark talked about it as well. We live together 24/7, and work side by side during countless hours of maintenance and repair and everything else. So that was just a very special connection that we managed to make as a work center. And I think that while we put effort into it, Wally talked about, even if we didn't get along at some point, when Liberty Call came down, we were all friends again and we're ready to go. And that's not always the case in every work center. I still work with the Navy. I still get to go out to ships, and unfortunately, I see some ships that aren't that close to one another. And then there are others that are a lot like us, where they just cut up and they work hard and they get along, and you can tell that they're brothers. So if I were to tell junior sailors anything, it would be to try and build those bonds with one another. That you're not just doing a job together, you're actually serving together. And it's a unique thing that you're doing. The civilian community would never understand what you go through.
Yep, absolutely.
This thing going a second.
100%.
Yeah, that's solid. So this is where I go on my tangent a little bit. And here's my advice. My advice to everyone watching. And no matter where you work, no matter what you do, no matter what the mission is or your core values in your organization are, what I would say to you is you have to build a family. We talk about being professionals, and I got that. Professionalism, sometimes people can't cross that line as individual, as human beings, that, well, if I call you my family, now I'm crossing the line, I'm becoming too personal. That's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. The people that you work with, if you want to create a cohesive team that can take on anything, you need to build a family. You don't need to build a team. And, let me put it to you this way. I love my sister, man. I love my sister more than anything in this world, but we don't get along all that great, right? A lot of times we don't like each other. Hell, I'll tell you right now, she don't like me. I don't like her a lot of the time. But guess what? You mess with my sister, it's going to be the worst day in your life if you mess with my sister, right? So that's a family. That's how I grew up. That's who I am. So anywhere I go and I lead, I try to create a family, just like I experienced with these guys in my work center. Imagine this being the whole ship, because I can name people that I'm in touch with that were cooks. Blue, if you're out there, brother, watching, miss you, man. You took care of me. I threw a tray at somebody once because they weren't feeding me. Blue took care of me, right? I'm telling you, I'm still in touch with a lot of these folks. Goot is one guy that I served with not only on the Tycho, but on the Barry. And ironically, we're in the yards period, and he's in charge of installing a new system on board my ship this yards period. So the Navy is a small place. The world is a small place. We're all a family. I don't even care if you're talking about an organization. We are a family that are all in this together. And guess what? We're not getting out alive. I'm sure you've heard that before. So I would tell you that the big thing for me in everything that Heather and I do, in every aspect of our lives, the people we meet are automatically our family. We're huggers. Yes, even in a COVID environment, safely. But we care about people. And I think that is the key to success, whether you're building a team, a family, organization. If you're trying to get from mediocrity to success, it's about building a family. All right. So that was my soapbox moment for this leadership jam session. All right. So We'll. I tell you what. I didn't have a ton of stuff written down, but you know what I do have? I have pictures. So, here's something. And if I can kind of, I wasn't smart enough to break them out into groups of photos, which I should have done. There's something that my ship does currently. Every Friday morning, we go into work early, and we do damage control training, and we do shipboard firefighting. And I'll tell you what, 25 years ago, from what I remember, this ship would do things like, oh, that's the wrong picture. That's working out. DC Olympics, right? I don't even know who the hell that is, but that's the flight deck of the Tycho. This was fun. That's a water fight. That's a no kidding water fight underway during one of our CD ops, counter drug operations. That was a lot of fun. You guys remember this? That's Captain Littman on the right. Any of you watching that maybe knows a captain that might be a CO of one of the ships on the waterfront in Norfolk, that's Captain Littman. Then he was Ensign Littman. There he is again. I don't know if it's going to focus. There he is. Ensign Littman. Agent Sat. You guys remember this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Hutch.
Oh yeah.
He was a great
Where's he at
Divo.
Oh,
these
yeah.
days?
He was a good Divo.
He was a great Divo. He was good people. Gino. How about this guy?
Good old
Gino
Gino.
Dawson, one of the biggest human beings on the face of the planet, at least to us back then. If you can talk, you can breathe. If you got you in a headlock. I know, I'm not being insensitive to today's climate, but that was Gino's thing. We would fight and wrestle in the berthing, and Gino kicked all of our asses. Let's just put it that way. And Gino is now a commander in the United States Navy, and love you, Gino. Love you, bro. You trick. He's going to be a commanding officer at a fleet logistics agency. So how about this? And the guy in the bottom right corner of that picture is me with
I know
hair.
that girl.
Yeah. And look at all those dungarees, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
How cool is that? And then this is one of my favorites. I don't know if I can get it to focus, but Birch, you're in there. There you go, Mark. Gino,
Yep.
Brian Singleman, Countryman, Greg, and myself. We won the DC Olympics. We kicked everyone's ass. But,
You know what's funny about that picture, and I remember this specifically. Before every task, we had to ask them, okay, what are we doing here? Like, oh, you got to do this, this, and this to get this to work right. Okay. And then we go and we do it perfectly because we were all close. We were a team. And just followed directions and we killed it.
Yeah, that's perfect, man. I mean, I really didn't intend for this to kind of turn into like a lesson on how to build teams, and it just, these go where they go, and I love the fact that these are so organic. But yeah, I mean, if somebody's watching this right now and you really want to figure out how to make stuff work, I talk about morale all the time at work too, right? People go, oh, we need more time off, so morale's good. That doesn't give you high morale. Time off is not morale. Mission success and accomplishment means you want to come into work because you're winning.
Right.
That's morale.
Pride and honor. Pride and honor creates morale. Command climate creates morale. You can walk on board a ship, and I'm a defense contractor. I'll go ahead and say that. I've been on a lot of ships all over the world, and I can walk on board a ship, and within 20 or 30 minutes, I can tell you what the command's like just by the crew and how they react to questions and do their job.
Yeah.
You're spot on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I have been in the military for 20 years, right? But a lot of the guys I work with are former military. Doesn't matter which branch. But people respect what you inspect, and whatever you let slide is what they allow, or they feel is now the new normal.
Yep.
So if you don't
Yeah.
command or earn their respect to set a certain level or expectation, they will let it be their expectation. And typically that's not what we need to get to move a process forward or a team forward. And I think that's a lot of what I learned 20 years ago in the Navy, is that if you follow through, and much like what you said about the DC Olympics, Mark, is that if you follow the direction, you will succeed. If you don't, you will fail.
That's it.
Yep. I'm really not sure what the hell that is right there, but I'm pretty sure that's me and Hitch.
I don't.
Don't
I
ask,
can't
don't
see
tell.
Yeah,
I can't see it
that
enough to
existed
be able to
back then.
comment.
That
Party.
existed back then. I'm glad you didn't tell Wally.
Oh, I told. Why do you think Heather's in the other room now?
Heather's in the same room, Wally.
Oh man! Oh, there it is. There it is. Al, I found it.
Oh, yeah. That's the one.
Where's the beach? It's over there.
Over there.
You know what's
All right,
funny
guys.
is we were talking earlier when Sean and Dave came on board. Sean was the skinniest kid. He weighed like $120.
I weighed 155 pounds. Thank you.
So baby.
Now he's
I
a
remember right
tank.
before I got out, you were this beast.
Yeah. So you know what the Navy taught me more than anything else. I could show these pictures all night, but what the Navy taught me was dedication to things. What the Navy taught me was how to tackle any problem, whether it be troubleshooting our equipment, or, working out, or whatever it was in my life. The Navy really taught me not to go halfway. That's kind of where that's what I've taken. Maybe I've taken it to an extreme because, there's a test that we take when we go through CMC school, and I'm pretty high on the ambition piece of that test. And I know that that's part of my drive, is just that I never want to do anything halfway, whether it be being a leader or being, just in my personal life. Even an exam, I can't stand if I score under a 95 on an exam, right? So I think that everyone needs to find that in their lives. Like, they need to find what makes them click and stick to it, right? That could be a good thing or a bad thing. It can become an addiction, or it can become something that drives you. And that's where motivate comes from. It's just motivate yourself, get after stuff, and be a better version of yourself today than you were yesterday, right? Don't just sit back and let life come to you. Go get life, right? Al, I want to talk about something, man, because you're the guy that stayed in too, right? And I'm pretty sure that the other 5 guys that are on this page, God help us, Wally probably would have been the MIG-Pong. But you made Master Chief as well, man. Can you show off what you got there behind you?
That my shadow box.
Come a shadow box.
Yeah. Well, Heather's slow on the clicking.
Oh, sorry.
Oh boy. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yeah, man.
Looks great.
It's amazing. Don't pull.
Don't throw your back out, Al.
Yeah.
We already had one hernia.
Don't throw your back out. There's a joke there.
I was going to say something, but I'm going to be quiet.
You're doing great, Wally.
You guys owe me.
There's a movie. There's a couple movie references there. Throwing your back out. I'm just. What? Heather's shaking her head.
The CMC on the McFall at the time when I was retiring, Brian Dunn, me and him built that in his garage.
That's amazing, man. Yeah.
That looks
I'm
amazing.
telling
That's
you.
awesome.
there's no question in my mind that every single one of you guys would have achieved the same thing. And, you know, it was an honor serving with you. I'm going to I'm going to go around our horn one more time, and then I'll have the last word. You guys got anything you want to say, starting with Al?
Just if you're about, you know, your younger sailors, I think over and over again. If you don't,
You're gonna have to mute Johnny.
Family is just it's different because it's not a job. So the family's important.
Oh yeah.
You know, just support everybody around you. They'll support you, and there isn't anything you can't come. If my dumbass made Master Chief, anybody can.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. All right, unmute Wally.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, brother, you're up, man.
Well, I just want to say, you know, we got in the Navy, we were kids, we were babies. And the bond that we had, that we started, that we shared, it continued with us and with, you know, the rest of our lives growing forward with the people we meet. It's not very often that you can say, hey, I know this guy. I know this guy. We might not talk once a month, once a year, but it's like we're 21, 22 years old again. You know, it's love for everybody.
Love is one of my favorite things, man. I'm working on a book, and one of my chapters is going to be love.
Look at my name,
Johnny Love.
Can you put my phone number there for the single ladies, please?
It'll be in the comments below.
And I'm going to be quiet. You might want to mute me right now.
Why? Because Hitch is up, and you're going to be like, Stacy. All right, Hitch, what's up, bro? Last word.
I guess one of the bigger things too that I've continued on, and it goes about kind of what I was touching on earlier, is that if you hold each other accountable and you all strive to do better, and by doing that, it raises everybody up. And I mean, and that's what family does. Family tells you when you're screwing up. I mean, family really tells you when you're doing things wrong, or you need something, you need to improve somewhere. And I think that's one of the things that I learned in my 6 years in the Navy on the Tyco, was that, you know, if you hold me accountable, I hold you accountable, we're all going to do better. And that's really helped me through my career outside of the Navy. Man,
so you don't know this, but because you haven't been in the Navy, the CNO actually has direction for the Navy. It's called the Design for Maritime Superiority, and one of the tenets is accountability. Like, no kidding, it's accountability. Yeah, and it is a key to maintaining a war-fighting ready organization. So you nailed it, brother. I mean, you learned that 25 years ago without it being a CNO's directive, right? That's solid. Mark, over to you, bro.
I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I wasn't the best sailor in the world. Looking back on my life, I could have done things a lot better. I learned a lot at the time that I didn't realize until much later in my life. And it was from you guys, you know, from Mike, from Al, from all of y'all, Izzy, Snit, and Wally there. Lessons on leadership, dealing with individuals, strife, you know, how to be better in my life, that I didn't apply at the time because I didn't understand. But as I got a little bit older, more experienced, this stuff made sense, and it's helped me succeed in my life and where I'm at. And really, Mike has been one of my role models for leadership. Now that I'm trying to move up into more of a leadership position, is I want to be a leader like like Mike was to me and Al. So kind of rambling, but I hope you get the gist of it there.
Yeah.
Lessons that will apply later in your life.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So first and foremost, you weren't a shitty sailor. I'm pretty sure everybody, as I watched behind the scenes here, we were all like, what? Wally's a shitty sailor. You were not a shitty sailor, right?
You know what the final eval in the Navy was? My final eval in the Navy was 3-0.
Well, I heard what he said.
So, you're not a shitty sailor. You weren't a shitty sailor, but I get what you're saying about life's lessons that we learn and we apply later. I could tell you this, man, as a command mast chief, I was blessed to do a lot of tours, and applying lessons as I grew, and then I look back and I went, wow, I was a really crappy command mast chief. My first tour as a command mast chief. I wasn't. Just like you weren't a bad sailor. I mean, Mark, you're one of the smartest dudes in the room, and you applied it. And you so I will tell you this, bro. You were the smartest guy in the room, but you never made anybody else feel stupid. And there is a difference.
I always say, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. But in this group, I don't think I have to worry about that because all of y'all are phenomenally smart, even Wally.
You cocksucking motherfucker.
And there it is.
Oh man.
All right. Over to Mike, man. Enough kissing back and forth with Mark. So over to Mike.
Yeah, I don't know what I can say that's any different that you guys have already put out there. I was really blessed with this crew. Like I said, I picked two of you right out of sea school. So I felt like I was trying to build a work center that was going to be successful right off the bat. And in spite of Mark's self-assessment, I think that I picked the right two guys to go to that ship with me. And like I said, I was just blessed with the rest of the crew coming on while we were deployed and just growing together. Wasn't anything I did. I tried to do what little planning I could, but God took control and away we go. So I'm happy, and I can look back 25 years later, just like Izzy, and say that was some of the best times of my life. I definitely do not regret my time in the Navy at all. So, and it's because of guys like you. So thank you.
Yeah, brother. All right. Yeah. Well, hey guys, thanks for coming on, man. We spent a full hour. Actually, it's been like 2 because the pre-show was
right.
Thank you.
We thought we got it all out of Wally, and we apologize now at the end here to everyone who's watched all the way through with us. We thought we got Wally to wring all of the crappy language out. And Mom, if you're watching, I apologize for Wally.
Hi, Mom.
And hi, Mom. And hey, guys, I know it kind of turned into a love fest here at the end, but I expected it to. I really did, because you guys are my family. You're my brothers. And there's nothing I wouldn't do for you. Heather and I are always here for you. Thanks for coming on, man.
Amen.
This has been a blast.
This has been great.
I feel like I'm 22 years old again. I know I look it.
Yeah. No.
Well, yeah. I got your text, brother. I got your text. Thank you. I love you too.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Well, you couldn't let me say it, so I had to do that.
You said it anyway.
But I was good. No, I was good.
No.
I keep getting these texts from Wally wanting to know what Stacy's phone number is. I'm confused.
Oh, I got her phone number, buddy. Don't you worry about that.
That's a 25-year obsession right there.
Yeah.
Every bit.
All right. Well, hey, again, thanks, guys. And stand by. We'll talk after the show here. I'm going to close it out real quick. So if you could give me a minute, just hang out.
Thank you.
Chat. All right.
See you, brother.
All right.
Sorry for my language.
All right. Hey, so next week is going to be a special treat for me again. I'm going to have somebody from my past. I'm going to bring on Command Master Chief Chris Scarano, who is going to sit down with me and talk about leadership and his experience in the Navy. Chris Scarano is, when I put my package in for Command Master Chief, he's the guy I called. He's the guy I asked. He and I served together at Recruit Training Command together, and he always provided me with positive mentorship, and I really look forward to sit down with him. In fact, I got a text from him today saying, "Hey, let's talk really soon." So I'm looking forward to that phone conversation with him, and I'm looking forward to sitting down with him and having a leadership jam session. So we'll see you next week. Remember, that glass isn't half empty; it's not half full. It's just waiting to be refilled. Get out, motivate, love you, mean it.